everybody, and welcome to this special on Venus Retrograde in Pisces. I'm Amani. I'm a karmic, holistic, astrological life coach, and I like to go in depth in all that I do, and all of my interpretations, especially when it comes to Venus, Mercury, Sun transits and everything really, are based on Vedic Astrology, which is based on where the planets or the luminaries, which are the Sun and the Moon, are any given time in the sky, and all times are in GMT time as well. So yeah, thanks for listening, and yeah. So the key words for Venus retrograde are love detox and spiritual romance reset. So this year Venus goes retrograde in Pisces. So this happens about once every 18 months to 2 years. So Venus goes into Pisces, or it went into Pisces on the 28th of January at 2:33 a.m. Then it goes retrograde on the 2nd of March at 1:36 a.m. All times are in GMT time, British time, and Venus stays retrograde until the 13th of April at 2:03 a.m. while still in Pisces until the 31st of May at 7:04 a.m. when Venus enters Aries. So Venus is in Pisces for a good solid 4 months, direct and retrograde and direct again. So when Venus goes retrograde this year, it's in the 17th Sabian degree of Pisces that has the Sabian symbol at Easter promenade, so at Easter celebration. So like, an Easter parade, a carnival, a walk through Surrey, so it's wanting us to really zoom in on what we want to celebrate in our lives. So Venus is retrograding this year in Pisces, and the confusing waters of Pisces at that. This astrological dance is a Neptunian love potion with a twist. It's a time to reassess, rethink, reflect and renew your approach to love, beauty and values, especially self-love, because all love should start from there, right? So let's talk a bit more about what Venus retrograde actually is. So Venus retrograde happens approximately every 18 months, as I said. It lasts for around 40 days. Although it doesn't happen as often as, say, Mercury retrograde, it's still significant. During this period, Venus, which typically, moves forward in its orbit, begins to slow down, and from our perspective on Earth, appears to move backwards, and this backward motion allows Venus to retrace about 15 to 18 degrees of the zodiac. So what it means for us, it's a step back to revisit our connection with relationships, especially the relationship with ourselves and our higher power, whether we call that higher power God, or the Supreme Being, or Buddha, or Allah, So it's time to evaluate what truly matters in our lives, especially when it comes to love and partnerships and our values, what we think, what we believe about the world, and what we believe about ourselves. And if you have found that your priorities have shifted, changed recently, this period can serve as a reminder and nudge to realign with what's important to you. Also, Venus retrograde can bring unresolved feelings to the surface, which prompt us to unpack our relationship desires and expectations. So we may find ourselves reflecting on our past intimate relationships or friendships or whatever, as exes or even toxic partners can resurface this time, so we have to be careful, right? Often an ex is an ex for a reason, and only because we love someone doesn't mean we have to be with them, and that's a lesson I've had to learn this lifetime. So while this can feel challenging, it also offers a chance to gain clarity and make more informed choices moving forward. So vibe with, embrace this period as an opportunity for growth and self self-discovery, allowing the cosmic energies to guide you back on track. So now I'm going to talk more about this specific retrograde, right? That's happening on the 2nd of March 2025. So as Venus, the planet of love and beauty, takes a backward stroll through the mystical realm of Pisces, it's like she's putting on rose-coloured glasses backwards, right? So it's inviting us, as I said, to dig deep into our subconscious desires and fears about love and self-love, and especially what blocks us from loving ourselves or loving others, re-evaluating what relationships that you truly value in your life, and reconnect with your spiritual side and how it relates to your partnerships. And the 17th degree of Pisces, although I'm going to break down all the Sabian symbols in about, 30 minutes or so into this in depth, but it adds a layer of renewal and spiritual rebirth. It's like the universe is giving us a chance to show off our stuff on the astrological catwalk of love and spirituality. So now I'm just going to do the summary version for about 5 minutes, or you who just want the short version, and then afterwards I'm going to go in depth and talk about the practical applications, the spiritual, esoteric, financial meanings, the karma, how it affects our friendships, hookup relationships, love relationships, self-partnered and single relationships, and all that good stuff. So positively, it's a spiritual romance upgrade. This retrograde is our chance to infuse our love life with more soul and meaning. It's a time to connect with our partner on a deeper, more spiritual level, to explore or check out tantric practices or other forms of sacred sexuality, and align our relationships, especially our relationship with ourselves, with our highest values and ideals. But it also brings, like a creative inspiration overload, which can be negative, but I'll talk about that in a minute, because we can just forget the practical, right? But it's like a muse on steroids. We may experience bursts of artistic inspiration and upgraded ability to express emotions through art or music, and increased sensitivity to beauty in all forms. Our compassion can be turned up. The Piscean energy is all about empathy and understanding, so we're likely to feel more connected to others' emotions and our own, have a stronger desire to help those in need and help ourselves, experience moments of profound, deep unity with all beings. And in terms of the karmic love lessons, as I said, it can bring us encounters with past lovers or soulmates, opportunities to heal old relationship wounds, and insights into the repeating patterns in our life. So, if you want to ex me and you can be healthy, then go ahead. But if it's just, the same old again, it's showing you what you need to change within ourselves. Because yes, the external people, have toxic behaviours, but you can ask yourself, why do you allow toxic behaviours? And a lot of it stems from childhood or what we believe and we are worth, So on the negative end, it can bring rose-coloured delusions. We have to be careful not to get lost in fantasy land, so we have to watch out for idealising partners or potential love interests, falling for illusions or deceptions in relationships, escapism through unhealthy romantic or artistic projects, we can be emotionally overwhelmed because this energy, the Pisces energy, can be intense. It's 12th house energy, right? Secrets can come out. The ways that we self-destruct can come to our attention. We normally numb ourselves. The increased risk of numbing ourselves during this energy into our intoxicating relationships, substances like drugs and alcohol, to escape Netflix and chilling and all of that, to escape our reality right now, because this energy can be really intense. It can be difficult for us to set boundaries in our relationships. We can feel like we're drowning in other people's emotions as well. We can be confused about our own feelings and desires, and we can just have self-worth wobbles. We can be insecure, think we're not worth it, think, oh, I'm too old, so I need to go back to this ex who is still trying to treat me badly, because I'm getting on and at least I've got somebody, right? So we have to be aware of questioning our values in relationships, comparing ourselves unfavourably to others, and sacrificing too much for love and approval, because the only approval you should sacrifice for is your own love and approval and your higher power and higher self's approval, right? So the best use of this energy of Venus retrograde is a love life audit, rethinking, reviewing your past relationships for patterns and lessons that you have learned or what you need to learn, and looking at how you can break any toxic patterns, right? Reassess what you truly want and need in a partner and from yourself, heal any lingering heartaches or resentments, participate in self-love rituals, create a sacred space for self-reflection and meditation, practice mirror work to increase, boost your self-love and acceptance, engage in energy healing, focus on your heart chakra, your throat chakra as well, speaking your truth, artistic expression, start a dream journal or continue a dream journal or normal journal or vision board for your ideal love life, create art that expresses your deepest feelings and desires and help you work through your feelings, explore, check out new forms of creativity that connect you to your soul. You can increase your passion, so volunteer for all causes that touch your heart, practice random acts of kindness, especially with yourself, cultivate, develop empathy through active listening in your relationship and listening to your own inner thoughts about what you need and engaging in healthy self-care. Take relaxing baths in rose quartz or amethyst or any other crystal or Epsom salts or anything else that speaks to you. Practice gentle yoga or Tai Chi to connect to your body and spirit. Spend time in nature to reconnect with universal love, get those feet on the grass, hug those trees, Remember that Venus retrograde is like a spiritual spa day for your heart and soul. It might feel intense at times, but it's all part of the astrological plan to level up your love life and align it with your higher self. So the mantra right now is, I'm open to divine love and trust in the universe plan for my relationships. And by mindfully working with this retrograde energy, you will not only be improving your life, but you will be evolving into a more compassionate, spiritual, aligned and self-aware version of yourself. So embrace and vibe with the mystery, but trust the process and get ready to experience love on a whole new cosmic level. So yeah. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk about the practical applications of this energy, how you can practically use it. So improve, upgrade your creativity and problem solving. It gives us the chance to resolve long-standing issues, especially when it comes to our love life, how we perceive ourselves, our vulnerabilities about love and self-expression, our sense of beauty, whether it's about finding our self-beautiful or being attracted to others. It increases our intuition in our daily tasks, and it improves our ability to go with the flow, and we can suddenly be solving problems like a cosmic Melinda from Ghost Whisperer, Alison from Medium, Patrick Jane from The Mentalist, or someone from Cycle, using our intuition and creativity instead of just logic. It's like our brain put on a pair of rose-coloured goggles, helping us see solutions where others see obstacles, or where we once seen obstacles, now we see solutions, right? But negatively, It gives us potential for confusion and forgetfulness. We can have difficulty in following through with plans. We can have a tendency to overlook important details, but we have to, just watch out, because sometimes it can make us feel like we're trying to build a sandcastle underwater, like we make some steps progress, like 4 steps forward and then 20 steps back, and we might find ourselves forgetting important appointments or getting lost in daydreams when we should be adulting, So we have to balance the ethereal with the practical, with the, the everyday, right? So we have to try and stick to our to-do list and try and be open to this energy while keeping to our commitments, right? But also work with this energy because it can help us stay to our commitments as well. So in terms of financially, it increases our intuition for financial opportunities that can be helpful to us. It improves and upgrades our ability to visualize financial goals, and remember, it also can start in the mind, thinking that we can create our reality. Of course, it's never going to just come by thought, right? We have to take practical action, but we have to believe we can bring better into our life, right? It allows us to come up with creative money making ideas. Venus in Pisces in retrograde is like having a financial fairy godmother whispering money tips in our ears. We may suddenly get a hunch about a great investment or devise a £1 million idea while daydreaming in a shower or on a walk. So it gives us, big manifesting abundance energy. So negatively, we can have a risk of impulsive or unrealistic spending, because as I said in the intro, it can make us escape into intoxicating substances, and we may spend more on those or anything else that takes us out of reality. So just make sure that you budget, because we can find it hard to budget and financially plan right now, and we can fall for get rich quick schemes and other things like false spiritual teachers and spend money there. So we have to keep our wallet, our cash on the leash right now, as this energy can make money slip through our fingers like water, as we may find ourselves splashing out on that limited edition mermaid theme tarot deck that we definitely don't need. Or do we need that? We may do. Just make sure you make balanced decisions, treat yourself a little, but don't ignore paying the bills and stuff like that as well. Politically, it increases our empathy and understanding in political discourse. It improves and upgrades our ability to see multiple sides of an issue. It's a potential for more compassion in policy making, so this is really, really good. So Venus transiting in Pisces in retrograde is like giving the political world a big squishy hug, reminding us it's all about understanding, compassion and seeing a bigger picture. And we may find ourselves having deep and meaningful conversations about social issues and coming up with solutions that benefit everyone, So some of you be doing it on a wider scale, some of you just be doing it for yourself or your family or your community, But negatively, there's a risk of political idealism, overshadowing practicality, Can we implement these policies and how long is it going to take, There can be a potential for confusion or misinformation in political messaging. We can have difficulty in making firm political decisions right now, so we have to be careful not to get lost in political la-la land, as this transit can make it hard for us to separate fact from fiction in the political world, and it's like trying to nail jelly to a wall, Everything can feel slippery and hard to pin down, so don't let smooth talking politicians sweep you off your feet without checking the facts first, In terms of the materialistic social collective meanings, it gives us an increased sense of unity and interconnectedness, We can have a improved upgraded ability to work collectively towards common goals. It can have, give us a appreciation for art and a cultural renaissance comeback, Venus retro in Pisces is like the universe hitting the blend button in society. Suddenly everyone can be vibing on the same frequency. Wow, almost, right? Don't want to get too utopic, idealistic and all that, but we may find ourselves more connected to our community and inspired to make the world a better place. And it's given major we are all one energy, which is really good, right? And you'll be hit by this more if you have a lot of Venus energy in your chart, Taurus, Libra, Pisces, Sagittarius, even because Pluto energy as well, and Pisces and Neptune energy in your chart as well. But negatively, there's a risk of collective delusions or mass hysteria, a potential for social boundaries to become blurred, a difficulty in maintaining individual identity within groups. We have to watch out for the astrological Kool-Aid, as this transit can make it easier for us to get swept up in groupthink and conforming to what others want. And this is all about thinking about what you want in terms of your opinions, your beliefs, your values, and what you want from your love life. And we can just fall for collective illusions as well. So it can be like everyone decided to wear the same pair of rose-coloured glasses and no one can see clearly right now. Remember to keep your critical thinking cap on, even when everyone else is floating on cloud 9. So it's all about blending intuition with practicality, dreams with reality, and it's a time to let your imagination guide your actions, but we mustn't forget to keep one foot on the ground, Use this energy to envision a better world, but also take concrete steps to make it happen, Practical action is key. But don't worry if you can't physically do things while Venus is in retrograde. You can wait until when it goes direct and outside of its shadow period, but make sure you write down things and try and get clear about what you want, at least on paper or vlog or voice recording, and remember that you've got the power to turn those Piscean dreams into reality. So now I'm going to talk about the psychological meanings. So it brings us empathy in abundance overload, right? We can be a human sponge for emotions right now. We may understand people on a whole new level. Our creativity can be intensified. Our imagination can be on fire. It's time to start that novel or pick up that paintbrush, Our intuition, our gut feelings are really supercharged. So, it's important to trust those hunches, but make sure you clarify facts as well, make sure, as I said, you stay grounded as well. On the negative end, we have to make sure we keep on giving ourselves reality checks, as it's easy, as I said, to get lost in daydreams and forget about real life responsibilities, like, hey, where the children are, I forgot I was meant to pick them up from school, sort of thing, It's not funny, but this energy can produce things like that. So just make sure you try and make sure you stick to your everyday commitments, especially if it involves kiddies, So also our boundaries can be like, what boundaries? We may find ourselves taking on other people's problems as our own. Remember, it's okay to say no. It's good to help. This energy wants us to help, but we must make sure we put our own life jacket on first. We can also experience our emotional roller coaster. Our feelings might be intense and overwhelming at times, so we've got to remember to take those deep breaths, Think of it like this: your mind can be a sponge in an ocean of emotions. You're soaking up all the vibes around you, which can be both amazing and overwhelming. It can be like having superpowers, so use them wisely. In terms of spiritual significance, positively, we can find ourselves in tune with the universe like never before. Meditation, it can be more like levitation. We can just feel high, it can give us a strong astrological connection. We can be really compassionate. As I said, our hearts can be wide open and ready to spread love and kindness everywhere. We can have mystical, deep, spiritual experiences. Don't be surprised if you have some seriously spiritual moments or vivid dreams right now. But negatively, spiritual bypass alert, it's tempting to use spirituality to avoid dealing with real life issues and also ignoring that inner work and shadow work while we are working through our issues, and being spiritual. It's not all about tarot crystals and the shiny things. It's about getting to know yourself, and that's about understanding your darkness and weaknesses and learning to manage it as well. We can have guru syndrome. We may feel so connected that we start to think we've got all the answers. Spoiler alert, you don't. We never do. All truths are half truths and all that. And there's always levels and layers to current understanding. So this is why I say we should always be awakening and never thinking that we are woke. We can have escapism, temptation. We can have the urge, to check out of reality and live in a spiritual bubble. So imagine your soul is a fish in the ocean and you're swimming in spiritual waters, which feels amazing, right? But don't forget to come up for air and deal with the earthly stuff too, In terms of the esoteric meaning, it wants us to integrate the opposing forces in our life, our strengths, our weaknesses, our lighter, more nicer side, and our darker, more bashful, mischievous side. It gives us a bridge between the material and spiritual realms, and it gives us the potential for higher consciousness and enlightenment. So also positively wants us to engage in a karmic cleanse. Our old soul wounds may surface for healing. It can be like a spiritual detox, where our psychic powers are activated. Our third eye can be wide open, our crown chakra. We can be more in touch with our higher self, our highest potential. It's a time to trust our gut feelings and random insights. But of course, I know sometimes when we've got anxiety and depression and stuff like that, it can be hard to discern that inner voice. So, be careful with it as well. Sometimes the other voices of depression and stuff can masquerade as the true inner voice. So I know that sometimes we can struggle with hearing and understand that. You have to use your own judgment with that. So it can just help us, tap into that divine love connection where we can tap into unconditional love. It's all about that agape energy, that agape love, which is unconditional love, giving ourselves and others the kind of love and action that shows empathy, extends the desire for the good of all and ourselves as well. And it makes us feel like we want to help others in healthy ways, and we just have good intentions for everyone, including ourselves. Negatively, the line between intuition and imagination can get blurry. As I said, not every sign is actually a sign. So as I said, you have to work with your own temperament and know your own psychological and emotional issues, and to tell the difference between intuition and imagination, or whether you can actually carry this out practically. And remember, a lot of the times, with imagination, I believe that we can carry it out, but we also have to, slow it down and go at our own pace, because sometimes we can just be overwhelmed with all the psychic stuff as well. So balance is key, keeping one step on the ground and the other floating in the air. Also negatively, we can experience past life drama. Unresolved issues from previous incarnations may pop up. It's healing, but it can also be intense. We can have, cosmic codependency. Be careful not to lose yourself in the idea of oneness with others in the universe. As I said, put your own life jacket on first. But ultimately, think of it like this, that you've got X-ray vision for your soul right now. You can see deep truths, but sometimes it can be hard to tell what's real and what's just cosmic mist, so you just have to, try. In terms of the symbolic and creative and emotional meanings, as I said earlier, our creativity can be off the charts. It's a time to make some magic. We can be more eloquent with our emotions, we can be a poet that know it, or we didn't even know it, expressing feelings that come naturally. We can have like a romantic renaissance. Love can feel like a fairy tale. We can just feel more in love with ourselves and the world. So enjoy this magic. But what's the key word with Venus retrograde? Keep one foot on the ground. Oh yeah. So negatively, again, it can bring drama overload. Life might feel like a soap opera right now. For some of you, exes may come back and all of this. You can be in a love triangle. So try not to get caught up in the theatrics. Emotional flooding, feelings can be overwhelming. So it's okay to take a breather. We can have unrealistic expectations. Our ideals in love and art might be a bit too lofty. Remember, perfection is an illusion. Imagine your heart is a paintbrush and your emotions are the colours. You may be creating beautiful art, but sometimes the canvas gets a bit messy, So now I'm going to talk about the aspects that Venus making when it goes retrograde. So we have the moon making a conjunction to Venus. This is applying. Then the sun semi-sextile to Venus, which is separating, so not affecting the whole vibe as much. Venus makes a sextile to Jupiter, which is separating, so it's not affecting it heavy, but it's still influencing it. We've got Venus semi-square Uranus, which is applying, so it's really influencing this retrograde. And the most applying aspect at 0.25 orb applying is Venus's sextile square to the ascendant. So Venus's conjunction to the moon increases our emotional sensitivity right now, so it allows us to create those deep intuitive connections, and it's a time when our feelings can guide us towards meaningful relationships and encourages empathy and understanding, which is what Venus retrograde is all about. But again, we have to watch out because it adds to the mood swings and oversensitivity and emotional intensity right now, which can lead to misunderstandings if we don't communicate clearly. So just make sure we check facts, take time out, try and practice active listening, as I said earlier, but give people space if they don't want to talk. And if you feel like you don't understand something, don't be afraid to say, can you say that again? Don't feel like, oh, I should know what that means. The sun sextile to Venus allows us to be creative in our expression in relationships. It's a chance to align our personal identity with partnership and create mutual growth. And Venus's sextile to Jupiter expands our optimism and allows us to grow, especially in our relationships, especially the one with ourselves. It allows us to expand our social circle and have faith in love's possibilities, and this energy wants us to reawaken to love, right? But negatively, we may not want new connections. Venus's semi-square to Uranus allows us to be open to the unknown and unexpected, and to be open to working with any secrets and acknowledgement of our self-destructive thoughts, behaviours and relationships right now. It can also help us be open to new attractions and desires, and it just makes us more excited about life. But negatively, the sudden changes can be upsetting and uncomfortable, so we just have to practice being adaptable and being open to communication to navigate these unexpected things that can happen. Venus's sister square to ascendant, so this is really applying. So this Venus retrograde is really about us aligning with our true selves and how we present ourselves in our relationships. It wants us to be more authentic with ourselves, get real about who we are, what our values and opinions truly are, as I said earlier. But it also adds to the misunderstandings in our relationships, where we can sort of like misread the truth, and we can try and avoid truth as well. And we have to just make sure that our words really reflect what we really truly think, so we don't overwhelm ourselves. Also, at the time of this Venus retrograde, we have a mystic rectangle and we also have a stellium. stellium, right? So first I'm just going to explain about, what a mystic rectangle is and the stellium, if you know about these, fast forward, and then I'm going to talk about how these specific mystic rectangle and stelliums are affecting this Venus retrograde. So what is a mystic rectangle? So in astrology, a mystic rectangle is also known as a cosmic cross. It's a rare and intriguing aspect pattern. It is formed when 4 planets are connected by oppositions, which are 180 degree angles, trines, which are 120 degree angles, and sextiles, which are 60 degree angles, forming a rectangular shape, And these planets are usually in complementary elements, earth and water, or fire and air, and this pattern is all about bringing balance and integration of opposites, making it a key player in themes of harmony and unity. So positively, the mystic rectangle wants us to bring balance and harmony into our lives. When it's in our natal charts, it can make us natural peacemakers, giving us an innate ability to bring people together and resolve conflicts, creating balance and harmony wherever you go. It gives you intuition and insight as it increases our intuition, allowing people to see multiple perspectives and understand the deeper connections between them. It's like having a built-in compass for navigating life's challenges. It also brings spiritual unity, and it symbolizes the integration of opposites, reflecting the unity of masculine and feminine, active and passive energies. It's a powerful symbol of oneness, and this concept is central to many spiritual traditions, the idea that we're all one. So imagine you're an artist struggling with self-doubt. The mystic rectangle might give you a perfect blend of creativity and practical skills to finally launch that Etsy shop and make your dreams a reality. In terms of a transit mystic rectangle, positively, it wants us to find that equilibrium, that balance. It's like having a personal yoga instructor for life, helping us, find that balance. Also, it can help us be more problem solving, giving us the ability to see multiple sides of an issue and find creative solutions to our problems. It can amplify our talent, giving our natural gifts a major boost, helping us shine in our chosen field. But negatively, in terms of the transiting mystic rectangle, it can lead to us having a lack of motivation or a tendency to avoid change. It can be like being stuck in our comfort zone where our growth is put on hold. It can lead to indecision and avoidance. The fear of conflict or disrupting harmony can just make us not make any decisions. We can struggle with taking a stand or making tough choices, which can get in the way of our personal and collective progress. Detachment, while balance is great, too much of it can lead to emotional detachment, and people may avoid getting too involved in situations to maintain their inner peace, which can sometimes come off as aloofness and not caring. So you just need to watch out for that. And also lead to analysis paralysis with so many options. We may get stuck in that decision making limbo, as I said, and it can just be energy drain. Balancing all these energies can be exhausting. It can be like having a Swiss Army knife which has many nice attachments on it, but forgetting to use any of the tools. So don't let all that potential go to waste. Get real about what you really want from your life. In terms of the esoteric significance of a mystic triangle, it is deeply rooted in esoteric teachings, symbolising the middle way, a path that avoids extremes and finds a balance between opposites. So it reminds us once again to bridge the material and spiritual needs that we have, and it gives us the potential for higher consciousness and enlightenment. It's about embracing duality and integrating the different aspects of yourself, and this can lead to spiritual growth and self-realization and awareness. And it reminds us that harmony comes from unity in diversity, accepting all the differences in everybody else and ourselves, and encourages us to see beyond the differences and find a common ground, like we've all got something in common. Esoterically, it's linked to the concept of as above, so below, the idea that our inner world reflects the outer universe, and it's like having a direct hotline to cosmic wisdom. And in terms of the influence on collective human behaviour, it promotes us to be more diplomatic, supporting us with finding that cooperation and diplomacy. People are more inclined to seek peaceful solutions and work together, creating a sense of community and mutual support, but it can make us also have a collective tendency to shy away from necessary conflicts or difficult decisions. Yes, we don't want the conflicts, but sometimes we need to clear the air. We need a big emotional blowout. Sometimes we can clear the air, resolve issues, make us get real, and although avoiding confrontation might prevent immediate discomfort, but can also lead to unresolved issues down the line, so we have to work with the conflict. It allows us to come up with creative problem solving as a collective, coming up with innovative solutions to old problems, and there can be a collective shift towards higher consciousness and spiritual awakening. So in conclusion, the mystic rectangle is a powerful symbol of balance and unity, offering insights into personal and collective behaviour. It encourages harmony and cooperation. It also reminds us to stay proactive and engaged, and by embracing the lessons of the mystic rectangle, we can strive for a world where unity and diversity coexist in perfect harmony, and that's what it's all about, So now I'm going to talk about the stellium in Pisces and the mystic rectangle's influence on Venus retrograde. A stellium in astrology refers to a powerful cluster of planets that are closely grouped together in the same sign, house or degree orb. So if a planet's in the 29th degree of Gemini, and then we've got one planet in the 7th degree of Cancer, because those planets, let's say Venus in the 29th degree of Gemini and Saturn in the 7th degree of Cancer, they can still be in a stellium because they are within a degree orb range, and that's how stellium can happen when one planet's in one sign and another's in another sign. That's because they're still within that 10 degree conjunction range that we need for stellium. So stellium can have positive and negative implications, like all things in life and astrology. So positively, a stellium increases the traits associated with the planets involved, the degree orbs involved, or the house involved, creating a strong focus on those specific areas of our lives. It can signify intense determination, creativity, and give a deep sense of purpose in pursuing our goals, going after what we want. Negatively, it can bring challenges, a lot of challenges. It can amplify the negatives of all the planets, houses, or degree orbs involved, leading to an overwhelming amount of energy in these areas, and this can cause stress because of the imbalance of too much of one energy surging on you, and so we may feel more pressure to live up to high expectations, or struggle with integrating the different energies represented by the planets within a transiting stellium. So we have two 3-point stelliums, the first between Neptune, North Node, and Mercury in Pisces at a 46% orb. Then the second involves Saturn in Aquarius, Neptune and the North Node in Pisces at a 47% orb, and the mystic rectangle happens with Uranus in Aries, the South Node in Virgo, the Ascendant in Scorpio, and Saturn in Aquarius, and it's at a 10% orb. So this first stellium between Mercury and Neptune and the North Node adds to our communication becoming more intuitive and cloudy and brain foggy, so we have to think before we speak and trust our gut feelings. Also allows us to, have more empathy and creativity and connect with others on a deeper level, and it allows us to have spiritual growth and let go of material obsessions and focus on our inner world and soul purpose. The transiting stellium, number 2, allows us, because Saturn's here, right, to bring structure to the Piscean dreams. Venus retrograde in Pisces amplifies romantic idealism, and we can balance fantasy with practicality in relationships. We can have a sort of spiritual love revolution. It boosts our spiritual connections. It encourages us to revisit past soul ties, and it gives us deep karmic relationship insights. It allows us to have creative restructuring. Venus retrograde, helps us with our inspiration. Saturn helps organize and manifest our creative vision, so it makes it a perfect time for reviving old artistic projects. It allows us to reassess, supports us with reassessing our values, questioning the material and spiritual values, and rethinking our social connections and community roles. And it can bring potential for financial fog, so we have to stay grounded. The mystic rectangle balances the energies, so it allows us to be innovative and independent and to get outside of our comfort zone. The South Node in Virgo allows us to let go of our past habits and critical thinking tendencies, and it wants us and allows us to focus on service to ourselves and others and self-improvement. The Ascendant in Scorpio allows us to be intense and passionate and think about how we present ourselves. It wants us to dive deep into our desires and fears so we can resolve them. So the mystic rectangle supports us in doing that. And Saturn in Aquarius brings that discipline once again, where responsibility can meet innovation, getting outside of our comfort zone. And it allows us to think about the bigger picture in our own lives and for the collective. So it wants us to revisit our values, because this is what Venus in retrograde in Pisces is all about, and redefine what love means to us. In terms of the combined influence, it aids us with our creative expression, personal discipline, allows us to let our creativity flow, and the mystic rectangle helps us to overcome any relationship problems which usually comes up when Venus in retrograde. It allows us to focus on our inner world and soul purpose, and it gives us the time to shine spiritually and work on spiritual growth. In terms of challenges, it can make us more oversensitive, so we have to remember to keep our heart open but grounded. It can lead to indecision. The mystic rectangle balance may make us indecisive, so we just have to learn to trust our intuition and take the small steps, as I said. And we have to be mindful of falling back into old habits, old relationships. Remember, if you're going to get back with an ex, make sure it's for the right reasons and you're not just repeating your past. Focus on moving forward with service and self-improvement, So now I'm going to talk about the Sabin symbols that are active during Venus retrograde in depth as well. Okay, so as I said in the intro, Venus is in the 17th degree of Pisces, so this symbol is all about renewal, rebirth and joy, happiness. It wants us to celebrate life, connect with others, connect with all the different sides of ourselves and find happiness. For some of you, this will be in collective experiences, for others in individual experiences. So the symbol encourages us to seek happiness and simplicity through renewal, through social connections. It's a reminder to vibe with the beauty of the present moment, regardless of what's going on in your life. But it can add to us negatively overindulging in social activities. Remember, balance is key. Focus on meaningful connections rather than superficial ones. But also, that connection, this energy is about your values, how you love yourself, why you don't love yourself. your vulnerabilities, your insecurities, while you run away from dealing with your psychological, emotional, and spiritual trauma and wounds, you know. Esoterically, it represents the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It wants us to connect with the divine feminine and collective unconscious, pushing us to vibe with the mystery of existence. Occultly, it reminds us of the psychological nature, the circle of spiritual growth and the pursuit of enlightenment. And remember, I said earlier, we should always be awakening. We are never woke because they are layers. So ultimately, this symbol wants us to embrace spiritual awakening and renewal, but we just need to watch out for getting lost in spiritual illusions. And we have to, it's another reminder to ground our practices and stay connected to our physical realities, right? The moon is in Pisces, the 15th degree, and the Sabian symbol is the officer preparing to drill his men. So again, this symbol shows a need for emotional discipline and structure, routine, and it's about organising our feelings and taking charge of our emotional realm. We should use this energy to create emotional order, self-awareness, and emotional intelligence. And journaling or setting boundaries can help us navigate Venus retrograde with clarity. We have to avoid being too inflexible and allowing ourselves to feel without judgment, even as we seek structure. You know, we have to allow ourselves, we have to come to the realization that feelings, sometimes we feel there's nothing the matter with those, you know, they're just as practical and needed in life as logical thinking, and you know, so it wants us to, on the esoteric level, to build more spiritual discipline and align our will with a higher purpose and prepare for the significant spiritual challenges and situations, or, you know, mundanely on the everyday level, prepare for life, because life will always be lifing, you know. So it's all about building that resilience. It wants us to organise our inner world, emphasising the importance of structure and routine in spiritual practices and the pursuit of higher consciousness. You know, use this energy to structure our spiritual practice and set clear intentions and prepare for deeper spiritual work. So this supports us with going deep, you know, if you want to go deep during this retrograde. Uranus is in Aries, the 30th degree, and the Sabian symbol for that is a duck pond and its brood. So it serves us and supports us with the nurturing, and it brings us protection as well. It's a call for us to care for ourselves and others and create a sense of unity and community and support, and it just helps us to work with others as well and to show support for others in innovative and new ways. But we just, again, it reminds us to not overextend ourselves, make sure we nurture ourselves as well, and it wants us to nurture revolutionary ideas and, you know, protect our spiritual insights. Esoterically, it brings that spiritual protection, you know. It symbolises the care and attention needed to develop new spiritual practices and protect them from negative influences. And remember, a lot of the time the spiritual path is a solo journey. There may be others around you, yes, but you know, it is a solo sort of thing. So, you know, it reminds us to engage, vibe with spiritual practices that nurture ourselves and ideas with care and attention. And it wants us to be careful not to isolate ourselves, as spiritual growth thrives in a supportive and collaborative environment. But again, you know, for some of you who may be lone wolves like myself, you know, we have to find a balance. Sometimes, you know, we can grow as individuals without collective support, but it's about finding the right people to collaborate with, you know, who are materially or ethereally present, you know. So the ascendant is in the Scorpio, the 2nd degree, which has the Sabian symbol of a broken bottle and spilled perfume, you know, so you know the perfume is spilling out. So it wants us to focus on our emotional vulnerability and healing, and it's about confronting past hurts and letting go of what no longer serves us. Use this time, it supports us with self-reflection and healing, and like it, supports us with meditation and therapy, and it can help us release emotional baggage. But we just need to avoid dwelling on the past too much and focus on moving forward. So even though this energy wants us to rethink our past, revisit our past, it is about moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose and self-awareness. And it represents historically the need to release our emotional and spiritual blockages, and it supports us in doing that, helping us to transform negative energies into something positive. And that's what life is about. That's what alchemy is about. Taking the poo-poo, putting it in the ground, our poo-poos, and watching new seeds grow of love and prosperity and self-love and care from the poo-poo, So occultly, it symbolises the alchemy of transformation of base energies into refined spiritual qualities, pushing us to confront and release old patterns. So we should use this time for deep self-reflection and healing, engage in practices that help us with our emotional release of our emotional baggage and help us to transform it into spiritual growth, and we just need to avoid dwelling on past hurts and focus on moving forward with a new sense of purpose and spiritual awareness, So now I'm just going to talk about how these Sabian symbols want us to look after our well-being and supports us in doing that. So Venus in the 17th degree of Pisces rules the circumferential ligaments of our foot, so it's all about feeling happy and supported. In terms of our spiritual health, it helps us with our spiritual awakening and the eternal cycle of life, pushing us to connect with the divine and find meaning in our journey. Physically, it wants us to take care of our left foot and all our feet health freely and avoid overstraining them. Regular stretching and proper footwear can help us keep our ligaments healthy, and psychologically it wants us to surround ourselves with uplifting people and activities and to develop a positive mindset by embracing joy and connection, even if life can be a bit crappy. It's about finding happiness in the dirt, in the shadow, in the darkness. The 15th degree of Pisces, where the moon's at, rules the left courteous veins, and it shows the need for emotional discipline and structure, and it's all about organising our thoughts and taking care of our emotional needs. In terms of our spiritual health, it represents spiritual discipline and preparation for higher consciousness. It reminds us to get our spiritual life in order. Physically, it wants us to keep our veins healthy by staying hydrated, avoiding tight clothing and elevating our legs when resting. Psychologically, it wants us to practice emotional organisation through journaling or therapy, setting boundaries and prioritising self-care. Uranus is in the 30th degree of Aries, and this rules the pituitary gland, and again it's about nurturing and protection, and it creates a sense of self-care for ourselves and others. Spiritually, it represents the care and attention needed to develop innovative spiritual practices and protect them from negative influences. Psychologically, it wants us to look after our pituitary gland by eating a balanced diet rich in vitamins and staying hydrated, avoiding sugary snacks and practicing good oral hygiene. Psychologically, it wants us to care for those around us as well as ourselves. The ascendants in the 2nd degrees of Scorpio, this rules the youthful mentors, so it represents us, it wants us emotionally to let go of what no longer serves us. Spiritually, it symbolises the release of karmic debts and the transformation of negative patterns, and it's a time to confront and release our emotional baggage. Physically, it wants us to keep our urinary system, our pee system healthy by drinking plenty of water and maintaining good hygiene and avoid holding our urine in for too long. Psychologically, it wants us to use this time for self-reflection and healing and engage in practices that release emotional baggage and transform them into spiritual growth. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about a bit more in depth about the karmic meanings and lessons of Venus retrograde. So yeah, as I mentioned, it's about balancing self-love and love for others. It's all about finding harmony between nurturing ourselves and nurturing others. It's time to learn that true love starts within. It wants us to embrace, vibe with emotional authenticity, letting go of emotional mass, and get in touch with our true feelings. And remember, authenticity is key to forming deep, meaningful connections. It wants us to heal past wounds. Old emotional hurts may come to the surface, pushing us to confront and heal them, but this is a chance to release what no longer serves us. In terms of past life memories and dreams that may surface, unrequited love or betrayal may come in our dreams or memories of past heartbreak may come up as well, reminding us of unresolved emotional issues. We may have dreams of unresolved psychological and spiritual issues as well. We may feel feelings of isolation, and this period recalls periods of loneliness or disconnection, contrasting with the current desire for joyful togetherness. And in terms of joyful community experiences, we may have happy memories of celebrations or community events from our current life or past lives, highlighting the importance of connection in our life. In terms of the collective karma, social patterns around love, like the fear of intimacy that we have as a collective. We're becoming lonelier by the hour, right? Scared of love and stuff by the hour. We may also have to confront the ways we idealise romantic love. It's not about the movies. Falling in love is the hard part. The honeymoon period is the hard part. It's the easy part. So the hard part is making that honeymoon period last, dealing with the real life issues. It's at least two people coming together, or three or more if you're in a FOP or any other arrangement, and taking care of not only each individual needs, but the needs of the unit, the couple unit together. It can be hard work, so we need to get real about what love really is. It's not just some rom-com idealization. It's kind of more like The Notebook, but look at the struggles that happened in that movie, right? But true love won over all, but it took work, right? So collectively it wants us to focus on healing and having a more empathetic approach to relationships. And the need for empathy and understanding may come to our collective attention, where it is to create deeper connections and understanding, moving beyond superficial interactions. And it reminds us to heal through community, so in that collective healing can happen through joyful shared experiences and a sense of belonging. So now I'm just going to talk about in depth how Venus retrograde affects our relationships. So in terms of our family relationships, it's a time for togetherness. Our families may become more joyful in the activities that and the time we spent together, and this can strengthen our family bonds and connection, and we can create new memories, because we can feel renewed. We can overcome our family trauma and reconnect with our family customs, or start new ones, and create a sense of unity and belonging in our family units. But negatively, the self-reflective nature of Venus may lead to temporary distance or withdrawal from family interactions, and past issues, old family dynamics can resurface, requiring communication and understanding, the blame game, the you did this in 1950 sort of thing, So we just have to navigate that and give each other a active listening space and a safe space to overcome these issues, even if you may find it a bit boring and tedious and feel like the issue has been resolved. In terms of friendship, we can be more community orientated and do more activities that are fun and reinforce friendships through these shared experiences. The mutual supportive energy of Pisces can deepen trust and empathy in our friendship group, but negatively, the over-reliance, there can be a tendency to lean too heavily on friends for emotional support, and we can burn out. We can do too much over-promise, so make sure you take time out for self-care. Superficial connections some friendships may remain surface level and lack depth during this time. In terms of committed couples, we can rekindle our flames, It brings the importance of renewed romance. Couples may experience a resurgence, a rebirth, a comeback of romantic feelings which initially brought them together, So this is a great energy to repair bed death, hetero, homo, lesbian, whatever, to bring us back together. And not only just the sex, right? It can help us bring us together with our communication as well. So it can deepen the connection, and this can lead to meaningful conversations and emotional intimacy. But negatively, old conflicts may come up, requiring effort and communication to resolve, and this can place a temporary strain on our relationships that can cause emotional distance and misunderstandings. In terms of our hookup relationships, we can have new encounters and that can be social and joyful, and even though they may be more casual, they can be exciting and we can be spontaneous and have more fun in these, right? But negatively, the lack of depth in relationships might, lead to a lack of commitment or depth, and focusing more on surface level interactions can get in the way of, depth as well, but it can be what you want. There can be unclear contentions, there can be confusion about the direction or future of hookup connections, so make sure you lay your cards on the table. Don't mislead anyone, because people can ignore red flags right now. We can fall into the fantasy and, lie and manipulate and fall into the illusion, so just make sure that, you know where you stand and you don't lead anyone on. In terms of those who are single and self-partnered, it's a time for self-love and to focus on personal growth, self-care, and understanding our own emotional needs and desires, and this can bring a sense of contentment in solitude and help us with, engaging in solo activities that bring us joy. Negatively, there can be feelings of isolation or desire for connection, and this can push us for self-reflection about our relationship goals. But it can also bring uncertainty, because we may feel uncertain about our current relationship status or what we seek in our future relationships, So in terms of career development, we can have a more sense of value in the workplace, and we can be more creative as well. It wants us to renew and revisit our past career choices, and some of us may seek roles that align more with personal values or our sense of community. And positively, it can bring renewed creativity and a focus on ethical practices in our workplace, and this can lead to innovative new solutions, But negatively, it can give us a tendency to over-romanticize past roles or feel certain about our current career path, leading to indecision or dissatisfaction. But positively, it allows us to reconnect with past colleagues or revisit old projects, and this might uncover new opportunities as well. In terms of our personal development, it can make us engage in spiritual and personal development practices that enhance our self-awareness, love, forgiveness and understanding, and revisiting past interests can reignite our passions, and this can lead to a more fulfilling personal life. It wants us to reconnect with hobbies or activities that bring us happiness, but negatively, overindulgence in nostalgic, sentimental activities may prevent progress or lead to avoid current responsibilities. So a lot of the time, just think, oh yeah, it's good to reconnect with these hobbies and stuff, but are you keeping yourself stuck? Like, you may reconnect with tarot cards, but is your obsession or use of tarot cards stopping you from going into the deeper levels of spiritual and personal development, And speaking of spiritual development, it can give us a stronger connection to our spiritual practices, and this can lead to a deeper sense of purpose and increase our intuition. In terms of the negative influence, we can sort of like fall into spiritual bypassing, ignoring our deeper emotions, ignoring confronting our psychological, emotional, spiritual trauma, right, and avoiding dealing with our emotional issues under the disguise of spiritual plans, so we have to watch out for that. In terms of our education development, it wants us to be more intuitive and creative in our methods. Positively, we can explore new creative learning methods or revisit past subjects with fresh eyes, and this can increase our educational growth. We can work better in groups, and this can be rewarding right now, but negatively there can be a tendency to procrastinate or feel disconnected from our current studies, and this requires us to take extra attention, or we may need extra motivation to stay on track. For those who are self-partnered, it's a great energy to use for a sense of self and personal renewal, and engage in self-reflective and self-care practices that deepen self-love and personal happiness. It's a time to honour and celebrate yourself. But negatively, there can be a risk of isolation or over-focus on ourselves, leading to feelings of loneliness or disconnection from others, right? So now I'm just going to finish up with talking about the best things to do and questions we can ask ourselves. So first, best things to do. So creatives, this is a good time to join forces with other creatives and, maybe start or restart that novel or art piece that is calling your name or you've been putting off. You can host the art show or creative workshop or attend one as well. Explore new mediums, new techniques, and for professionals, reflect on your values, take time to think about what truly matters, network with others, attend social events, webinars that bring you joy, and connect with like-minded folks in a relaxed setting. Mentor or be mentored, share your wisdom or guidance with others. It's a great time for knowledge exchange. For those who are entrepreneurs, realign and engage with your mission, reflect on why you started your business. Does it still resonate with your values? Engage with your community, maybe partner with local charities or host community events. It's time to give back. Maybe a brand refresh, think about a creative overhaul, let your brand tell a story that aligns with your soul. In terms of alternative healers, take time out for self-reflection, journal, meditate, connect with your inner healer, spend times outdoors, also participate in group healing, organise or join a meditation or energy circle. Lovers, this can really strengthen your bond, maybe plan a romantic getaway, like a low-key date night, maybe a picnic or sunset walk. Get creative with your dates as well, maybe try something new together like a cooking class, art workshop. Remember, laughter is the best glue to hold a couple together. Have heartfelt conversations, have deep chats about your desires and dreams. It's time to connect on a deeper level. For those who are single and self-partnered, love yourself first, have self-care rituals, maybe a spa day, a solo adventure, set your own spa day in your home, a nice bath or shower, give yourself a nice massage, or dive into activities, hobbies and interests that bring you joy, and just connect with your community, connect with like-minded people. So in terms of questions, questions to help you reflect on your finances, ask yourself, are my spending habits reflecting my true values, or am I buying out of fear or insecurity? Ask yourself, am I saving money for the future, or is it stemming from a fear of scarcity? Could you spend this money on courses for yourself to upgrade your skills, or therapy to help you resolve your issues, or books or other materials that can help you? Ask yourself, how can I align my financial decisions with what truly brings me joy and happiness? So to take time to review your budget and ensure your spending aligns with your values. Consider if each purchase brings you joy or serves a meaningful for purpose in terms of questions to help you with your emotional reflection. Ask yourself, what emotional patterns am I holding on to, and are they serving me? Am I seeking validation from others, or am I developing, cultivating self-love? And ask yourself how you can set healthy boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. Journaling and therapy can help you identify and release emotional baggage. Focus on nurturing your heart and building self-trust. In terms of spiritual reflection, you can ask yourself, what practices am I engaging in to connect with something greater? Am I placing too much on material success and material things, or am I nurturing my spiritual life? How can I deepen my faith and trust in the universe plan? Exploring meditation, yoga, to strengthen your spiritual connection, or any other practice can really help. In terms of your psychological reflection, ask yourself, what past patterns or relationships am I still holding on to, and why? And why want to let go of them, and how can I let go of them? Ask yourself, am I afraid of change, or am I embracing it as an opportunity for growth? Ask yourself how I can release emotional baggage and focus on moving forward. In terms of questions about your physical health, ask yourself, am I taking care of my physical health through proper nutrition and exercise? Ask yourself, how can I create a self-care routine that nourishes my body and soul? Ask yourself, am I honouring my body as a temple, or am I neglecting its needs? So all in all, during this Venus retrograde, prioritise self-care by establishing a routine that includes healthy eating, exercising and relaxation practices, and treat your body with the respect and care it deserves. Venus retrograde is all about reassessing our lives, about what we need to do to make ourselves more in love with ourselves and appreciate ourselves more, how we can reconnect or find our true authentic opinions and belief systems, asking ourselves what we think about love. Do we think we deserve love? Do we not want love, and why that is? And just rethink everything to do with your inner values and self, and think about how you can move forward in your life, and if you are truly happy in your life, embrace that as well, because for some of you, you won't have to change things through this Venus retrograde, so don't be afraid to dig deep into your subconscious desires and fears about love. Think about what you truly value and reconnect with your spiritual side, So yes, I'm Amani, your holistic karmic astrological life coach, and that's the end of my in-depth interpretation of Venus retrograde and what to do when it is retrograding.